quite apparent, the Malayalam film industry can do no wrong these days when it comes to bringing quality work to OTT platforms. We have a long list of movies backing up this expression to prove just how much the industry there has stimulated our interest to stream exquisite work. With Neatu, they have carried forward the procession of celebrating cinematic genius. It is a tempting interspersion of different genres scratching at the surface of an upsetting political spotlight, serving as the commentary in present-day Kerala, or if you imagine, elsewhere in the country or world at large. There is a vivid mix of elements rationalizing political excuses to care for minorities in the public eye in order to lure their votes. And parallel to the effective socio-political annotation, we have an escape flick, a suspense thriller, and an elaborate police procedure giving it a perspective of its own. There is definitely not a single moment where the film misses the beat or takes a hasty retreat in order to cover up a curious case of indiscretion, because, frankly speaking, there are none. But before I put on the critique hat and unveil my analysis of the movie, may I request you to follow the channel, press the bell icon for instant notification, and spread the word around to enable it to grow leaps and bounds. Your little contribution in adhering to the request will go a long way in empowering me to continue to add life to the content I present. Neatu is a tense political drama that centers on scapegoating the victims without relying on facts by feeding the insatiable, delinquent political monster. The movie is directed by Martin Parakat and written by Shahi Kabir and stars Kanchuko Boban, Jojo George and Nimisha Sajjan in the lead roles. The beginning and the end of the movie are interlaced with irony in the projection of colors to depict the overtones. Whereas the beginning celebrates colorful, joyous victory in a tug-of-war match, the end throws a jab of grey in silence, symbolic of fickling epilogue, one that remains inconclusive. Three police officers, one of whom has rejoined the police force played by Kunchuku Boban, meets a tenured Manyan played by Jojo George, who has spent 20 years in the force and who also happens to provide a glimpse into how the police typically conduct the business under the influence of political bigwigs. One of the scenes of the movie caught our attention, spooking the civilian trust when Manyan, on an immoral orientation of Praveen, lets out a sigh of helplessness, saying that even the goons have the choice of accepting or rejecting the quotations, whereas we don't have the freedom. The scene attempts to highlight irony as Manyan is seen planting false evidence to frame a person on order from above, whereas the same police force takes no two thoughts about framing them in order to keep up with the ongoing political climate. Sunitha, being the third police officer, unwittingly becomes a source of mayhem. A local Dalit political goon who is related to Sunitha is summoned to the police station for being a constant troublemaker in Sunitha's life. The story carefully plants a scuffle between the police and the goon, after which he ends up overnighting in the cell. The story switches gear for the first time when the goon is released owing to political pressure. What looked like a simple story transforms into statewide mayhem in a matter of jiffy when the three of them are allegedly framed for a murder of a Dalit. Surprise, surprise, a friend of the goon. Spoiler alert, they are not the murderers. It was in fact an accident, and plus the car was driven by someone else. The more I stay on the subject, the spoilers are bound to come loose. The movie thereafter jumps around, shooting different genres with a perfectly placed aim. The elaborate chase and hunt also highlights the intricate police procedures when nabbing the criminals. The trio successfully manages to dodge the entire police force, hiding around the cannabis, farmland and Munnar, employing resembling means for their survival. Well, the phrase, "You can't teach a dog new tricks," takes profound beating at the hands of the trio's innovation to stay one step ahead in the chase. The movie attempts to put the spotlight on the political circus that thwarts and contravenes the serving of justice depending on who is on the other side of politics, virtually denying any place for the judiciary. A mere probe into the matter was all it required to put an end to this anarchy. It should have been possible to imagine that kind of outcome in an ideal world, but in the world where we live, politics plays its dirty hand all the time. It's like being in the company of mosquitoes who will fly around you looking for an ideal spot to dip the beak to suck your blood. And the buzzing in our ears is just a friendly way of telling us that they mean well before sticking out their vampire's teeth. It is important to notice that the lives of the three police officers enjoy a distinction of sorts when they are operating in their individual space. However, soon when they're running away from the law, their lives totally twist together despite the difference in their caste backgrounds. Longings and regrets crawl up in alarming succession on them. Oftentimes, the depiction is subtle, like a breeze caressing a face. It is a notable conclusion thereafter that politics holds no one above or beneath, as they radiate their bitterness and dislike for no one in particular, as long as the matter of cheer oscillates in the middle. The screenplay is an interesting highlight that skips along, laying emphasis on every major and minor event with remarkable splendor. It shows detailing, thrill, and the regretful manifestation of actions, building concrete parallels with realism. The ballad of a screenplay plays in perfect harmony with a symphony of terse background music, and populating the vacant slots on melody are the subtle performances by lead actors, and the resulting composition makes for a tidy watch. It won't be wrong to point out that Martin has definitely fetched our attention by sketching out one of the best thrillers of our times. Naatu gets my approval rating of 4.5 on 5 for handling the political machinations remarkably well without compromising on the art of delivery.